Hi, everyone. Welcome to our One World Energy Encounter with the Zohar. Today, we're going to be at verse 20 of volume 15. It's the portion of Metzora. And before we begin, let's invite in the Kabbalistic lineage of the Rama Karen and Michael, Rabbi Schlag, Rabbi Brandlein, the Ria Kodesh, the Ramchal, Rabbi Tarfon, Rabbi Amr Zulai, Rabbi Menachem Mendel Tepsk, Rabbi Kolona Meshapir Piasetzna, the Baal Shem Tov, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and all the students, Rabbi Mordechai of Chernobyl, one soul with Yosef at Tzaddik, Joseph the Righteous in Shechem. Today is the 11th of Nisan, so we're approaching full-on energy of the month, which will culminate on Monday night, which is the 15th full moon, and that's when we're going to be, I would say, celebrating the energy, celebrating the holiday Passover, but that's only one way to say it. The truth is, with Passover Monday night, it's a window in time. It's an opportunity for us to connect to energy that's available only once a year. And while it's the story of Moses leading the children of Israel out of Egypt, which is a great story, it's really a delivery system. It's really a window in time. It's really an opportunity for us to look at our lives and look at the places where we're blocked, look at the places where we are enslaved, where we are unable to move forward, either because we don't see the way out or we don't even see that we're locked up. We don't even understand the full extent of the way in which we are trapped. And so that night is an opportunity for us to literally blow the doors down and move to our next level and move beyond the limitations that have kind of kept us in a very limited space. So it's a tremendous opportunity for growth and for transitioning forward and upward, and for elevation, not of ourselves, but the whole world. So today is the 11th of Aries of Nisan, and so we're a few short days away. Tomorrow also is something called Shabbat Hagadol, which is the Great Sabbath, which literally translates to the Great Sabbath. I mean, Shabbat is an opportunity we have every week to realign ourselves with our soul, to connect to the energy of removing chaos from our lives and from the world for the week to come. But it's especially opportune because it happens before Passover. So and that's why Shabbat HaGadol, it represents the sea level for every Shabbat in the year. So it's also a tremendous opportunity for us to remove chaos from our lives and from the world. And many other things to say about that, which I'm sure our teachers will be sharing. Also, today is the anniversary of elevation of Rav Moshe ben Nachman, known as the Ramban, Nachmanides, who's a huge Kabbalist, and also Rabbi Shaya Halevi Horowitz, the Holy Shla, another major tzaddik. Okay, as we connect to these verses, let's set our consciousness to connecting to the upper realm, connecting to the flawless universe, and channeling that energy of perfection into our world, that energy of fulfillment into our world, the energy of immortality into our world, the energy of healing for everyone we know who needs healing, the energy of assistance to those souls that we know are elevating, energy of removing chaos from our world, of ending the war in Israel, of also the war in between Russia and Ukraine, the safe release of all the hostages being held in Israel right now. Also energy of protection for all those innocents that are in harm's way. Also protection from evil eye and evil speech, and removing negativity from our world. Okay, would someone like to volunteer to read English for us today? Thank you, Andrew. Okay, verse 20. Rabbi Yehuda Rabbi Yitzchak Hava Azle ve'archa yatvu be'hahu be'chakla v'tzalu batar desima sloto kamu va'azlu v'tach Rabbi Yehuda b'milei de'oraita ve'emar eitz chayim hi l'machazikim ba Tomchem Ushar. Eitz Chaim da Oraita. Di'ihi ilana ila'a Rava v'takif. Torah amai ikre Torah. Begin the ore the galibama the haba satim de la it yida. Chaim de chochaim de le'ela ba it klilu. Umina nafkin lamachazikim ba be'inun de achtin ba. The man de achi be'oraita achi be'chola achi le'ela v'tata. V'tomcheha mu'ushar man tomcheha. Ilin inu de matilin Malai the chisan shel tachazeh. Kamad ukmuha. Okay. Andrea, verse 20.
Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yitzhak were once on their way. They stopped at a certain
Wait a
field.
second. Wait a second. On their way, your sentence ends with way? Ends with way?
Yes. On their way together.
Ah, okay.
Sorry, I
I'm
missed
not
it.
picking out. I'm like, okay, so often we read about these students of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, author of the Zohar. We often read about students, and they're studying, and often those interactions start with people meeting, traveling, a whole host of different things. So when we see two of the students of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yitzchak, were once on their way together. Were once, like they didn't do that more than once? One time? Or is it more like, once upon a time? Maybe it's more like that. Maybe. But then it says on their way together. So the first takeaway for us here, the first opportunity we have to connect, is this idea of unity. Yes, they were on a spiritual journey together, but they were not in conflict. They were in complete complement. They were completely complementing each other. They were in total unity. And so that's what we want to think about. First of all, we need to think about how unified we are. Just being here and studying this, we are connecting to the energy of unity, and it's super important. And understand that one of the things that happened during the first 33 days, starting with the second day of Passover, we have a time that's called the Sfirata of the Omer, the counting of the Sfirot. Like literally, when we were in Egypt, we were in the 49th level of negativity. You hit 50, you can't come back from that. So we were on the precipice of spiritual extinction as a people. Doesn't get lower than that. And then the Creator sprung us out of Egypt, even though we weren't necessarily deserving of it. And then we spent the next 49 days marching towards Mount Sinai for the great revelation event on Mount Sinai. And each of those 49 days neatly fits into 7 sfirot, 1 sfirot for each week, and within the week, 1 sfirot for each day. So the first week is chesed, the second week is gevurah, the third week is tiferet, and so on. The first week, that's chesed. The first day is chesed shel chesed. The second day is gvurah shel chesed. So like we're hitting each of the first 7 sfirot, and then the subcategory sfirot within that sfira. And that's how we elevate to the 49th level. Shavuot, the holiday that happens later, is on the 50th day. And that's when the revelation event takes place, because now we've climbed 49 to 50 levels of elevation. That's the level of Binah, the flawless universe, the Garden of Eden. And at which point we achieve immortality for the world. Story doesn't end so great because we build the golden calf and lose immortality. But that is why we were released from Egypt, to take the world back to the Garden of Eden. The children of Israel, the children of Jacob, that was our manifest destiny. We're still working on it. So I say that because the first 33 days of the Omer are known to be very heavy periods of time. So for example, we don't necessarily start a new job if we can avoid it. We don't necessarily move if we can avoid it. I purposely moved before Passover so I could avoid moving during those first 33 days. Rabbi Akiva, one of the greatest Kabbalists to ever live, he had 24,000 students who perished during those 33 days. And so, and why did they perish, these elevated souls? Because they didn't have unity. They didn't have respect for each other. And so this is really significant. It's a significant time to be making this connection. It's significant for us. It's significant for the world, is unity. Another way of looking at it is, as opposed to sinat chinam, baseless hatred for which the temples were destroyed, we want to have ahavat chinam, unconditional love. It's difficult because people push our buttons. We turn on the news and we get triggered. It's difficult. But that's not our journey. That's their journey. And that's an important boundary to establish. And when we understand it's their journey, we can be unified, even though we're going to keep our distance because we have a boundary. So that's the first takeaway is the importance of achdut, the importance of unity among students. And it's something at the center we strive to always be conscious of maintaining unity. Because when there's disunity, it's like we don't have the ability to, I can only do so much when I'm aligned with another group of people where we all share the same consciousness. We have much more opportunity, much more strength, much more consciousness to draw blessings into our world. So it's incredibly important. It reminds me, I don't know when this hit me, but like, it was at some concert, probably a Springsteen concert years ago, where I was like, it's amazing that everybody's here for the same reason. Like, I don't know, a stadium concert would be 50,000 people. And for the most part, with few exceptions, there probably are, everybody's unified in wanting to listen to this music that they enjoy. That's a collective consciousness. It's super powerful, which is one reason why concerts are so much fun when they're, when it's done right, because everyone is just happy to be there. And so the reason why I use that as an example, there probably are many others, but to me, that's the one that hits me, is like, this is the power of a collective consciousness, especially when it is ours and when we're directing it to the upper realm to channel blessings into our world, to receive for the sake of sharing. Through unity, it's so much more powerful. Okay, and so that's the opportunity we have right off the bat in this particular verse. Go ahead.
Okay, they stopped at a certain field to pray and then continued along.
Wonder what field that was. Like, what does it mean, certain field? So on one hand, when we say a field, like, why do we even need to know? First of all, they're saying it was a field because they're kind of saying that they were going to make a connection with the Creator, and it needs to be in the right space. So it was a certain field in that it was a space where it was appropriate to stop to make the connection that they needed to make. It's also, so we think of field, and I'm thinking it's an energy field. I mean, if there could have been things in the field that would have not made it ideal, but this was an ideal energy field for them to be able to make the best connection they possibly could. The other thing is, like, when we look at certain, like they picked that field, they had certainty that was the place to do it. And so part of what we're gaining also is this consciousness of certainty in the things that we do. I had a conversation with someone yesterday who was a young business person, and he made a decision to do something, and his superiors were like questioning what he decided. And he was certain it was the right thing. And I'm like, look, I agree with you. I think you did the right thing. I don't care what your superior said, but I think more important is, like, you need to develop certainty in what you're doing. You need to trust your gut. You need to validate your intuition. We all need to be very conscious about our thoughts and looking for more certainty in the things that we're doing. And what we say, the words we use can also impact it. I don't know. No, I don't know. I know this is the thing to do. That may turn out later that it turned out to be not the best thing, but that's not up to you. Ultimately, it's not up to you. We always make the best decisions we can at any point in time. And our consciousness should be, this is the best decision. I have certainty that this is the best decision now, irrespective of the outcome. And we say, well, I'm nervous. I don't know what's turn out. That's the part you hand over to the light. You want to go through life with certainty. And to the degree there's uncertainty about aspects, I'm giving that to the light. I don't know. I don't know. So again, they went into this field to make the connection. They had certainty. It was a certain field. It was a field of certainty. It was a consciousness of certain energy. So it's another major takeaway we have. We have the unity, and we also have the ability to enhance the certainty through which we approach life and make decisions. It's like, yeah, but I could have made a better decision. Apparently not. Apparently not. So just forget about it. You made the exact decision that you were supposed to make at that point in time. I have certainty over that. But did you want that outcome? No, I didn't want that outcome. That outcome wasn't available. Any questions about that?
Yes.
Yes,
So
Andrew.
when you want a positive outcome, when you want an outcome that is beneficial to you, then how do you know? Then what should your consciousness be about making a decision for yourself?
I'm going to make the best decision I can. The problem is the worst problem is indecision. I'm going to look at the facts. I'm going to do my due diligence, and then I'm going to make a decision, and I'm going to make the best of it. It's a spiritual thing, but I've heard like business coaches talk about this. I've heard entrepreneurs talk about this. Actually, I don't know his name, but the chairman of Endivia, it's one of the most valuable companies in the world, wasn't that way, is now. He was speaking to the graduating class of Stanford. I hope I didn't tell the story already. Recently, he was speaking to the graduating class of Stanford, and he said, you guys, you haven't had to really prove yourselves. You're in a class of people who are elites of elites when it comes to academia. Mm-hmm. But you're not entrepreneurs. In my business, we celebrate pain and suffering. I was like, what? It's exactly what he said. In my business, we celebrate pain and suffering because it builds resilience. Okay. That's what entrepreneurs are, resilient. We make decisions. That's it. We make the best decision we can. You can't always know what the best decision to be made is going to be. Can't know.
Oh, wow, David, you just brought something to mind of me here.
Go ahead.
Yes, my pain and suffering is when I'm up at night thinking and just processing things when I have to make decisions in my office and related to work. I think that's my pain and suffering because I just go through process and things that I need, because I have this responsibility,
Yes, a lot of responsibility.
I'm constantly going through the process, and people in the office don't think about it. Well, they're just like, oh my God, you think about everything. You just always thinking 10 steps ahead of time. But I do, because I just looking at the consequences afterwards, decisions I make. And a lot of people don't in the office, right? So I feel I'm thinking for them and their responsibility, which I was talking about my boss about it this morning. But to Andrea's point, right? Where is that certainty, right? And I mentioned earlier, kind of snuck in there, just be bold and go for it, right? And don't think about it, and just be a little bit bold and make the decision that you need to make, and trust yourself to have that certainty that you
right. Exactly.
Bold for it. Pray for it, right? Pray. This is what I want. This is what I'm going to go for it. Be bold that this is what is going to happen, and this is what I hope to manifest because this is what I want. But at the same time, like on my side, I just drive myself crazy at night. And when I wake up in the middle of the night, it's just I'm going through that process because I want this to take place tomorrow or a week later because
Right.
I want that level of certainty too.
Absolutely. That's a great. I'm thank you for sharing that. It's so true. It's like it goes on in our daily life. It goes on in decisions, but like take it also like look at it from a spiritual perspective. I'm looking at everything. I'm making the best decision, and then I'm letting go. I'm handing the rest off to the light. I'm literally I hand the rest off to the light. Ask the Creator for assistance. I've done right, and I heard David Guillaume talk about something. I do what I do. It's on you, he says it. Creator, it's on you now. I'm done.
Yeah.
But look at what it does when you have certainty. And this is why, like, certainty is connected to happiness. I did everything I could. Kick back, connect to your unconditional happiness. Now we have a tendency to ruminate about the past and get anxious about the future.
Very.
That's not what we're supposed to be.
I know. Very. Yeah.
And it's
There's-
amazing. I just want to say, Maria, when you say like that, you know, in your business with the responsibility you have, you're looking at the how this is the consequences of the decision. And that's what business people do. That's how we evaluate what we need to do. We want to see what the next moves are going to be because we want to be prepared. And the truth is, you're doing the job that you're doing because you can see that. And so when, yeah, not everyone can see it, they would not be able to do the same job that you're doing because they don't see it. And think about it for a second. I'm not saying it's Ruach HaKodesh. I'm not saying it's prophecy. But what is prophecy? What exactly is that? What is it when we have a premonition? A premonition is us. I mean, it looks like we're seeing the future. We're not. I got a feeling something's going to happen. Did I see the future? No. I mean, yes, but no. I saw a deeper present moment. Everything is happening in the present moment. Time is this illusion that the Creator put here for us so we can do things in a sequential order. Everything we're trying to do actually is so it happens in a certain sequence. That's an illusion. There's no time in the upper realm. Everything is in the present moment. So when we get a premonition, we're just seeing a deeper now that's available to us. And the more we think about that, the more premonitions we get. But Maria, to your point, when you're looking at the steps, you are looking at a deeper now. I don't know what's going to happen, but you're able to look with a greater depth at the internal energy, at the seed level of decision making. Okay. So meanwhile, these guys are walking along on their way, aligned, they must have been having a great time. How could they not? They're in alignment. It's like, what does it feel like to be with your best friend? It's awesome. But then they realize it's time to pray. They're not getting carried away with how good of a time they're having. They're like, hey, time is pressing. And so they say, well, okay, we got to find a place to pray. Where are we going? That's the place. Really? You're always exactly where you're supposed to be. And the more we remind ourselves with certainty that what am I doing here? It's exactly where you're supposed to be. Exactly. And again, we have certainty over that. It takes the pressure off. I don't know where I should be right now. Well, look where you are. That's where you're supposed to be. Stop worrying about it. We do, again. We get anxious about it. But we want to pull that out of our consciousness. It is the Satan trying to undermine us. It is the opponent trying to mess with us and get in the way of our producing positive energy for the world. When the Satan does that, the Satan takes the positive energy. Yes, Suzanne.
Yeah, so this is great. Thanks, you guys. Thanks, Maria, too, for bringing it up. Yeah, with me, I'm noticing that it's giving me an opportunity to rewrite the scripts from my childhood. I just, this
Sure.
last
Oh,
it's
that's so
massive.
powerful.
Yeah, that's the last, I don't know, 6, 7, probably more years of my study. I was a precocious child, so I guess on the outside, I'm a Capricorn rising,
I
so
can't see that, but okay.
a lot of emotion in here, but Cap rising. And so I was very precocious as a child. And my parents always used to think, man, she's real like a little adult. And in some ways I actually was, but they threw a lot of things at me because it seemed like I could handle things, things about life that were, not really, I was an only child. So you get more exposed to adult conversations
Yes, you do.
and concepts. And so I pretended on the outside that I was handling it. On the inside, I was scared out of my mind. Or I would think through, oh, well, this is how I'm going to do it when you're, I don't know, a child, right?
So
Like,
the
so
question is, on one level, it might be like they really burdened you with that. Another level, I mean, that's true, but another level is like, why did your soul need to be burdened in that way?
right. And I know for them, it was an act of love. You know what I mean? It was nothing, negative about it. They were like, oh, she can handle it. And I
And I
actually,
just want to say, had you had other siblings, they probably would have started doing things differently. Parents always experiment with the first one.
yeah. No, but it's great. I mean, that's what's happening now. So a fear keeps coming, literally Cancerian, come on, right? So the fear
Right.
keeps coming up and it's just another opportunity to rewrite scripts. So I have to face it and then, breathe and pray and, you know what I mean? Meditate, whatever I need to do, make a connection, until it dissolves, right? Like
Yeah,
that's
you got to
really
process. You
basically
got to
my
process.
process over
That's
and
the
over and
process.
over again. But it's really confronting a lot of childhood fears, childhood vessel, childhood
Suzanne, it's a
reproach.
gift that you get the chance to do that. It is a gift for us to do that.
Yeah. Not complaining, but it's just intense, man.
It's a gift. It is intense. It's a gift. And because because without processing it, you don't know about it, but you're dragging that suitcase on wheels along with you wherever you go. And everything you do,
Absolutely.
you got to navigate with that suitcase. What's in that suitcase? Yeah, I can't look at it now. I don't
Yeah.
even know. And everywhere you go,
Yeah.
you're dragging it around with you.
And on the Pesach prep, they talk about you got to see it. You got to see it. So it's like, okay, well, we're seeing a lot,
Yeah.
which is the way you want it, right? Like,
We are seeing
absolutely.
a lot.
Yeah.
And listen, we want to see it. We want to see the stuff we need to root out and we need to address, we need to process. And we also want to be very careful. We want to see the blessings also. We need to see the blessings.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Beautiful.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. Okay, so keep going.
Where are we? Rabbi Yehuda commenced a discourse on the Torah
Okay,
and said,
so why is Rabbi Yehuda, they're together, best friends, hanging out on a little journey. It's awesome. They stop, they find a place, the perfect place for them to connect with the Creator. And then after that, Rabbi Yehuda starts a discussion on a verse in Torah. Is he like some kind of square? Like it's like we got to do something serious now? No, he's not. These are two of the most elevated souls to ever walk the earth. Which is what we're doing now, what he was doing was he was connecting to the flawless universe through the verses that open up the channels to the flawless universe because they saw their soul's purpose as an opportunity to work on fixing the world, on perfecting the world, on finishing with creation, on getting us back to the Garden of Eden. And they do that, how? Writing their congressman? How do they do that? We have these holy writings, which are channels for the upper realm. That's what they were doing. And that's precisely what we're doing. Okay, continue.
and said, she is a tree of life to those who lay hold on her, and happy are those who hold her fast.
Okay, so that's a verse from the prophet Mishlei. It's actually a very famous verse. It's actually, I mean, universally, every synagogue in the world sings that verse. At the center, we don't, because there's certain versions of the connection books that it's not included. but it's actually in different places in our connection book. But I want to say the vast majority of synagogues the world over, when they take on Saturday morning, after the reading of the Torah, when they put it back in the ark before they close the doors, they sing this verse. So it's extremely powerful.
Hmm.
Now, just for the record, we're on the topic of taking the Torah out to read it, why do we bother closing the doors?
Why do we bother closing?
Why aren't we just keeping it open all the time? We take the scroll out, we raise it up
Right.
so we can see where we're reading from.
Mhm.
In some practices, they don't raise it up until after the reading. We raise it up first because we want to connect to the energy of the first letter of the portion that we're reading. And then we put it down, we close the scroll, and we cover it. Why are we covering it? And we close the ark. Why? What's the deal with the open and closing?
Well, I look at it as like sometimes, okay, in your life, like why do we close the door when we go out? Or why do we close the bedroom door when we're asleep? I do, at least. Or why do we cover ourselves? I don't know. I think it's just so we can preserve when we're not, it's like a completion, I guess, or a protection or a preservation. When you're not using
I like
it.
it's all like on the money. There's energy there, and
Mhm.
we don't want it dissipated.
Right.
We don't want it dissipated. We don't want it contaminated. There's energy there. Now, it gets explained as, well, it's holy. It's kind of like, it is. But, as the Rav used to say, it's not holy Holy, it's holy Wholly. So again, it's like this energy of unity that's available to us. But there are very specific energies that happen when we open the ark, when we open the Torah. There's specific energies, and we are creating boundaries of access to that. And that enhances the power of what's available to us. I'm sure I shared the story. Many years ago, I was I think it was Rosh Hashanah, and I was talking to a woman. It was her first Rosh Hashanah, and she said, I said, how'd you end up? Whenever I meet someone, I was, at the center, I was like, how'd you end up here? The stories are just mind-boggling. And she said, well, she had a friend who just had some kind of event, invited her to come on a Saturday morning. And so she went, and she'd never seen anything like that before. And the moment they opened the ark, she said, I cannot explain to you what happened, but I started crying immediately. It was one of the most powerful experiences she had ever had. Well, she was feeling that energy. So that's, again, so much of what we're doing. We're working with energy, and we want to have that consciousness and awareness when we're going through these things that we do, that we're working with energy and we're really trying to. So anyhow, so this verse is a verse that said when we close the ark. Why? Well, at some level, we want to bring this amazing energy with us. Yes, Maria.
I hear what you're saying of the closing of the
Ark?
yeah, closing and opening, but I'm still trying to reconcile the point of, but we are all in that room all together with the same consciousness and the same purpose on that particular time. So why is the concern of closing the ark?
Well, for one thing, there's other scrolls that are there that we're not using.
Okay.
So to a certain degree, it's just like preserving that energy.
Mm.
And the ark itself is like an energy vortex of sorts because of what it holds. And now we're connecting to the energy of the scrolls themselves. So it's also, but we're also, by creating that boundary, we're creating a specific space for the connection we're about to begin.
Yeah.
Between
David?
readings, between readings, we covered also. Again, it's, it's this energy of protection and boundaries that we're creating. Yes.
David, one of the first things I learned when studying from the Zohar was that you never leave the book open and walk away. Even if you're in the middle of something, you close the book. So I always looked at it as the same energy of the ark.
Why is it that, how is it explained to you as to why we do that? Just because we want to preserve the energy?
Because it's the power of the letters. And
Yeah.
we're taking in the power of the letters, but when the book is open and unprotected, where does that energy go?
Right.
That's what I remember anyway.
Okay, that's great. Thanks for sharing that. That's helpful. Okay, so let's go to the line. We're going to run out of time.
Oh, yeah, she is the tree of life.
Yes.
Okay.
So, yes. So now the Zohar is going to explain what that line means. Go ahead.
Okay. A tree of life is the Torah, which is a great and mighty tree. It is called Torah, showing.
Literally, it means showing. Yes.
So, yeah. For it shows and reveals all that was hidden and unknown.
It is the blueprint. It's the blueprint for our reality. And it assists us. It's there to help us unpack it, to help us channel the understanding of why we're here and what we're doing. But it's a coded document. So what the Zohar helps us do is decode it. It's like we're here into this, I'm thinking the Doors song, to this house we're born, until this world we're thrown. Rise on storm. Anyway, we're like, here's like, what is going on? And where do we look for the explanation? This is it. I know, but it's not, it's kind of hard. I know we have to work to unpack it because we asked for a realm in which to earn light. So we're given the guidebook, but the guidebook requires unpacking, conscious unpacking. What's the similarity, do you think, between, why is it a comparison to a tree? And we're going to wrap up with this. Why the comparison to the tree? What does Torah have to do with a tree? What is a tree?
So, so to me, a tree is, we're in spring right now, so I'm thinking a tree is rooted.
Yes.
And
Where are the roots?
it
Where are the
grows
roots?
roots, but it also
Wait, where are the roots?
under the ground,
Unrevealed.
unrevealed.
Yes. What
And
else?
then a tree grows up, and it not only grows up, wood expands. So it's not that it grows up, it expands, and it's also flexible. It
And it's
flows.
growing up opposite the desire to receive of the self, opposite of gravity. So it's demonstrating an ability to overcome other aspects of nature. And so this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing. We're overcoming our nature. What else?
Well, wood expands, and wood is flexible when it's healthy, and it
What else
flows.
does
Like
the tree do for us, though?
it gives us life. It gives us oxygen. It gives the world
Well, we
oxygen.
can't live without it. Literally, there's nothing to breathe. Who breathed the life into Adam?
The creator.
Creator. I mean, like the trees are like giving us what to breathe. Where do you think that's coming from? Well, there's a whole chemical process of the leaves. Yeah, where is that coming from? It's a bridge up between the unseen world and the seen world, and it's constantly channeling nourishment. We build houses, protection, sustenance. It bears fruit. We can't exist in this world without it. I mean, it's super powerful when you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And you see the Torah scroll has two posts that the parchment is wrapped around, made of wood.
Right.
Anyhow, so it's something to think about. Like it's saying it's a tree of life. And remember, And we'll close with this idea. There were two trees in the Garden of Eden in the flawless universe, the tree of life and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And the tree of knowledge of good and evil came with a warning: do not eat the fruit of this tree. And we ate, or Adam and Eve ate of that fruit, and they ushered in death and chaos. They ushered in a world where we didn't have the benefits of immortality. You know, life was there for the taking. There was no illness. There was no need to go to the dentist. There was none of that. And so, like, when we continue to eat of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, it's like, this is good, this is bad, this is good. We don't know. This kind of goes back to the beginning of having certainty. We don't know. I have certainty in the decision I make. I don't want to view the world as right and wrong, as good and bad. We just don't know. And not knowing is fine, because we ultimately want to be connected to the tree of life. We want to do the things we do, make the decision we need to make, live with the decisions, find the workarounds when we need to, but most importantly, we do what we do and hand the rest off and ask the Creator to take care of the rest. Okay, everybody. We're out of time. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
We will not be having classes next week because of Passover. And but wishing everyone a happy, healthy Passover, and we'll be getting together again soon, God willing. Okay, everyone. Shabbat Shalom.
Okay.
You all.
Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.